The job market is absolutely doomed in this country. People out of college or people who just got recently laid off or fired cannot find a job for the life of them. And they've literally tried everything from replying to thousands of job postings online, on Indeed or on LinkedIn, to trying to network with people on these websites, but a lot of them to no avail. The problem stems from the fact that in today's economy, there just isn't a lot of companies doing a lot of hiring right now. And a lot of it is due to the development of AI, because some of these companies think that they can basically eliminate a lot of the entry-level positions with just AI, so they'll save them a lot of costs. So they're literally pausing hiring on these positions. So now there's a big supply and demand imbalance, that there's a lot of people looking for work but not enough people hiring. I do think this problem needs to be addressed because a lot of people feel really hopeless right now. Keep in mind, they got like hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt in some cases, and they need a source of income to pay that back, as well as other bills that are racking up. And with today's cost of living going only higher every year, these people definitely need a good source of income just to survive, to pay these bills. Someone needs to come up with a way to address this important pressing issue because it's getting out of hand, and so many people are so upset and angry.
If you are the son or daughter of an immigrant family or your parents are not rich, why? Why would you get a useless degree? I do not get it. Like, your parents worked so hard to get to this point and you're here getting a useless degree and you likely don't even have something to fall back on. Like, I truly don't understand. You may just love the game, but I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, please just have a fallback or be smart about it because your family worked way too hard to get here for you to not try. I may get canceled, but follow for more.
Has anybody been to their local grocery store and checked out the price of meat lately? Specifically beef. You know, natural, no antibiotic added, grass-fed, free range, all the steaks in your grocery store. $20 for ribeyes, $22 New York strip, $29 a pound for fillets that just 2 or 3 years ago were half the price. I am convinced what the government has done and private businesses have done is they are making natural foods so expensive that 99% of us just have to buy the cheap stuff. They have now outpriced being healthy in the United States. So all of us that have complained that we shouldn't be eating, preservatives, antibiotics, all the things in our food, now we can't afford not to. So they've won. It's too expensive to be healthy in the United States now.
I went to Aldi's for a little couple of items. All this was $80. So what do you think? Was all this worth $80 or no, I should go somewhere else and buy my food? What do you think?
So I haven't been to Subway in a fat minute, like 2 years, but I was shopping today. There was a Subway where I was at, so I was like, fuck it, let's rip it quick. Bro, $20 for an all-American club footlong meal? $20. $20 fucking dollars for a mid-ass sandwich and a meal. Y'all tripping. We are in beyond a recession. If Subway's getting away with $20 meals.
Imagine finally graduating college and then not being able to land a job. Well, that's me. And it's honestly like one of the most frustrating things and the most annoying things. Because what do you mean I just spent like 4 years of my life to get this degree? But every job that I apply to requires a degree and 37 years of experience. I'm trying to get that experience. And not to mention when you're applying on Indeed and LinkedIn, you have to make a profile, apply to a bunch of jobs, take 47 minutes on each job, just to have maybe a tiny possible outcome of a crumb of a possibility of a chance to get an interview. And honestly, I was this close to quitting until I found my savior, which I'm gonna put y'all on. So this website is called AI Apply. You upload your resume and then you put whatever job position that you want to apply to. So let's say you're trying to be a doctor. Like when you apply to be a doctor, no one cares that you were a server at Red Robin. AI is gonna do that for you. You swipe right to apply and it'll do everything for you. Now I haven't landed anything yet, but I do have 4 interviews scheduled and it took me like 20 seconds to apply to them. You're welcome.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm over these prices on everything. I just left from Walmart. I spent almost $200 on nothing. On nothing at all. Nothing at all. I ain't broke. I don't mind spending it. I don't mind spending it at all. Sometimes you be like, okay, I'm gonna spend some money for sure. Nothing on my receipt is over $15. Nothing on my receipt is over $15. And it's not a long receipt. I don't think I got that much for almost $180 worth of shit. There's no way. There's no way. I kept looking at the receipt, looking at my shit, looking at the receipt, looking at my shit. All they had to give me. They had to give me. I calculated everything on this receipt. Like, there's no way. The receipt is right. The receipt is right. Wow. I feel like I didn't get shit. So I don't feel like it was worth $180. And that's disappointing. Like, if I would have got some big shit, like something on this list over $15, I'm like, okay. But I didn't spend over $15 on one item. I'm stressed.
More and more colleges are cutting their useless degrees. Wagner College is cutting philosophy, anthropology, sociology, English, history, modern languages, physics, math, and chemistry. The cuts will affect about 155 students, 10% of their undergraduates. This will affect 40 full-time faculty and 102 total. Wagner has lost students over the years. They're currently at 1,600. They were at 1,800 in 2017 and 2,300 in 2010. The president says they still spend money like they have 2,200 students. They would like to move away from being known as a liberal arts college. That's good marketing. It costs $51,000 a year to go to this school.
Degree in software engineering is not what it used to be. 4 or 5 years ago, when your great aunt asked you what you were going to major in college and you said software engineering, and she replied, oh, you'll always have a job with that major. My husband helps a lot of recent college grads land roles in tech, and what he's seeing over and over again is engineering students transitioning to something like tech sales. Reason being, a lot of college programs for engineering are not as rigorous as they used to be, which means that grads are graduating without the competency to excel in an entry-level software engineering job. On top of that, a lot of their work is getting automated by AI. And then what he actually sees most commonly is people come to terms with the reality that being a software engineer is long 10-hour days, minimal human involvement, fixing back-end code in some company's security software. If that's your jam, that's awesome. Software engineering could be a great role for you. But if that sounds like your worst nightmare, then it might be time to pivot. What's cool is sales is a great way to get that human involvement, but then still have a foundation in tech, which for a lot of people, that's why they were interested in software to begin with.
Story time on what made me realize college was a scam. Now, if you're somebody who's going to or went to college for a degree, this video is not for you. If you're somebody who's going to or went to college to get money, this is for you. So the reason why I went to college in the first place was because that was the only way that I thought I could make a lot of money in a short amount of time. So my plan was, okay, cool, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna be a software engineer. As soon as I graduate, I can, make anywhere between 100 to 200 grand a month, 100 to 200 grand a year being a software engineer. And then I can scale my way up, build my own company or whatever, the situation was. And so as I'm in school, I start seeing kids around my age making a whole bunch of money, doing stuff that, did not need a degree at all. And so that's what piqued my interest initially. And I just really start trying stuff out, really trying to get my foot into the door. And then I realized it just came down to me learning a skill set, number one, but also how I start utilizing my time. So when I was in college, I was working a part-time job. My schedule was messed up. I would, be hanging out with the homies hella late, going to parties and stuff. And, I really just didn't care about having a structured schedule. But also, the majority of my time was going to classes, homework. And when you think about it, my day did not consist of IPAs in any type of form. And an IPA is an income producing activity. So what? Me going to school and going to class, that didn't make me no type of money. Learning physics, algebra, chemistry, all that didn't make me any money. Me going to work, making $15, $16, $17 an hour, that made me money, but shit, barely. And then, of course, me doing homework and shit, bro, that didn't make me no type of money. Me going to parties, me smoking, me drinking, me messing with these girls, none of that made me money. And so then one of my homies who was also in college and was on the same mission as me, he ended up finding about high-ticket remote sales. He ended up getting into it, and he ended up just dropping out of school and doing it full-time. And he was just basically saying, bro, these people are making a bunch of money. They're going to teach me how to make money. I'm going to just take the risk. I'm going to do it. So I seen he got a little bit of success from that. And, for me, I just jumped the gun immediately because we both had the same goal. When we seen the opportunity, I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It makes sense. You just need to learn how to sell the product. The leads are already there. The opportunities are there. People are requesting this stuff. So when you combine, a consistent lead flow, people reaching out about what you have, on top of the skill set and being able to, you know, identify what their problem is and provide them a solution, then you'll always make money. So in total, I went to school for 2 years, and then I ended up dropping out. My mom said it was the most dumb thing that, you know, I could have ever done. I wasted all that time when I could just finish and get my degree, because, you know, when you have a degree, you can always make money because you can always get a job. And I was like, fuck that, because, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, that's not what my goal was. Like, I needed to make money ASAP, you know what I'm saying? That was my goal. I always wanted to be rich young. I always imagined myself being rich young, and learning a high-ticket skill set is what allowed me to get closer to that every single day. And, you know, at the end of the day, I used to fantasize about having the stuff that I have now, having a high-rise apartment, having a, you know, an M3. I used to be looking at the POV dropping videos on YouTube. And now I have all that stuff, and now it's time to go to that next step, you know what I'm saying, and get this Maybach, getting this Ferrari, all that good stuff, which will come over time. But it definitely wasn't coming from me being in no damn college classes, that's for sure. But if you want to learn exactly how I dropped out of college and became a 6-figure-a-year earner, comment playbook, and I'll give you my exact guide.
I graduated from college exactly a year ago today with 0 job prospects between then and now. Let's talk about it. Last year, on May 13th, 2024, I graduated from Montclair State University with a BA in Communications and Media Studies. But even though I graduated in May, I started applying to real jobs that January. So I've been applying to jobs for much longer than I've been graduated, and still nada. I've been applying to jobs within PR, marketing, social media, advertising, just pretty much anything that seems like it would be within my wheelhouse, and I've gotten pretty far outside my initial comfort zone, and still nothing. What gives me a little bit of comfort is that this is happening to everybody right now. It's not like they're looking at me and saying no, but what's most likely happening is they're not looking at me at all. But with that being said, it really sucks that this is literally happening to everybody. A couple weeks ago, I was like feeling really down in the dumps about it when I realized how close I was to a year from school, and I opened LinkedIn to try to like apply to more jobs. And the first thing that I saw was someone saying it has officially been 3 years for me. And that was someone who was let go of a job, who already had experience. So it made me feel a little bit better, but also absolutely terrible. Market sucks, but I keep trying to add to my experience through social media, and I do pick up like little freelance jobs, and I do what I can to give myself more information. I try to learn as much as I can, but still everyone says that I need more experience. But how do I get that experience? What really sucks is I'm applying to jobs where I have experience. I'm applying to jobs within social media where I have so much to show of what I can do, and they're still telling me I don't have enough experience. And what's even worse than that is I've had multiple internships throughout college that I feel like really gave me good experiences. I've worked at Hero Cosmetics, I've worked at big businesses, small businesses. I've tried a little bit of everything. I've tried behind the scenes, on camera. I've done as much as I can, but they don't see it as experience because it's an internship, so they assume that I didn't do anything. But let me tell you, I'm so excited to start working. Like, I am actually so passionate about what I do and the things that I can do and the things that I can create and just like help make, but no one's giving me that opportunity. So like, I know that I would be a good worker. I am very confident in my abilities. I'm a quick learner. I do well under pressure. I want to do the hard jobs. I want to do what people are literally asking for in the job descriptions, but there's nothing I can do because they won't let me in, which is like, all I can say is that at some point someone will actually pick up my resume and say, oh, sure, why not? And that'll be my in. But until then, just gotta keep hustling. Hope it doesn't happen for so much longer because I do live with my parents and I am going a little bit crazy. So if there are any recruiters on here for anything fun or even anything boring, just like, you can reach out to me. Like, my LinkedIn is in the link in my bio if you want to check that out. But also, let's create a cutie little network of like marketing girlies and just like girlies in general. Oh, that'd be so cute.
When I was still in college, and especially last year when I'd already graduated but I didn't have a real job, I was living off like a TA salary. All I wanted was a full-time job with a full-time salary, and I really thought that that would solve all of my life's problems. I was convinced like I was finally going to be able to eat out and not look at the menu for like the cheapest item, or I would finally be able to tip at a cafe without it hurting my soul. only to emerge into the real world with a full-time job that gives a full-time salary and realizing that that is still not possible. Like, I really truly believe that I would finally be freed from the binds of financial anxiety, and that is just simply not the case. Living in New York is so goddamn expensive. But the thing is, like, I knew this going into it. So when I was, planning on moving here, I made this whole spreadsheet with my estimated budget for the month and what I thought my take-home pay would be after, taxes and 401k and savings and whatnot. It was already a sizable chunk of my income, and yeah, it wasn't perfect or whatever, but absolutely nothing could have prepared me for the amount that hit my bank account when my first paycheck came in. Never in my wildest dreams or nightmares did I think that that amount would be so small. And yeah, I did forget about a lot of stuff like health insurance and HSA and dental and vision. But there was also like $200 in taxes that came out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. I was talking to my mom and I was telling her that I don't think I've received my first paycheck yet, only to realize later that I actually had received it and I just didn't notice because it was so small. It was that small. And like, my salary is not that low. Like, it's not that high, but it's not that low. But I am like #blessed. I know I'm fortunate. I can't afford it. Just barely, but I can. Anyway, so to everyone who's still living at home with their parents, consider me jealous. I wish I was doing that.
College is a scam, and the only ones that disagree are the ones that got scammed. Think about it. You go get massive amounts of debt, right? The better the college, the bigger the debt, right? Then what happens is you now have this loan before you even got your career, and it's the one loan on this planet that you cannot file bankruptcy on. You can file bankruptcy on credit cards, you can file bankruptcy on business, you can file bankruptcy on a car loan, you can file bankruptcy on a fucking jet. But the one thing the government won't let you file bankruptcy on is Sallie Mae. Okay? It is the trap. It's a trap. Then you go get this quote unquote high paying salary job, which is not even that high paying. First of all, you guys are all quoting your gross, never quoting your actual net take home. And you spend the rest of your life working just to pay off the fucking government.
I got laid off from my job of 3.5 years, and I have no idea what's happening next. So I've had a little bit of time to process this. It's been almost a week since this happened. So truly, I've just been sitting with it, feeling what I feel, and yeah, just processing the whole thing. There's really not much of a story time per se. It was just a normal day until it wasn't. Basically, they said it was just due to sales and restructuring, and with that, my position was affected. So not really much to tell there, but I will say I wish they would have just done it that morning, because obviously they knew that was going to happen, but it would have been nice to not have gone through the entire day thinking everything was normal and fine when obviously it wasn't. I guess neither here nor there. That is what it is. It's definitely a crazy feeling because I've never not had a job since I was probably 16 and I'm now 28. So this is completely new territory, just different. Like, it's just a different feeling that I've never felt before. So processing that is just a thing in itself. From the business aspect, I know it's not personal. It really was just numbers on a spreadsheet kind of thing. But I genuinely thought some of the connections that I formed there were deeper and bigger than the job. So that part I took personal, not the me getting laid off, but like the after part of it, I guess. 2 people reached out to me, which I will forever be grateful to those 2 people. But I was just like a little hurt. I mean, my feelings did get hurt. Like, yeah, they did. Because I was like, if I was putting myself in someone else's shoes, or if like roles were reversed, like I would want to check on someone that I genuinely cared about, regardless if we were going to work together or not moving forward. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. And so that was kind of a wake-up call, I guess, that it really wasn't as genuine as I thought. But that's okay. And I also understand that, like, nobody owes me anything. Like, no one has to reach out. No one has to check in. Totally okay. We just move forward. That was just something I was sitting with at the very beginning of this. I genuinely do believe, though, that when one door closes, another one opens. It's hard to see what that looks like right now, because I don't know what's happening next. I don't know where I'm going, like what I'm going to be doing next. I know I'm going to be okay. I know my family's going to be okay. And the one thing that this has taught me, and I know I've heard this so many times, but I guess until you like live it, you don't really think about it, is that I truly The only place I'm not replaceable is my home. Don't even really know why I'm sharing this because it is such a vulnerable thing to put out there. I was really embarrassed by it. Like, just saying I got laid off, like, embarrassed me. And it kind of still does to an extent. Also, at the end of the day, know that it shouldn't. And so I'm trying to reframe my thinking, and my husband just keeps reminding me, and thank God for him, but he is just, your worth is not tied into a job. I'm still trying to be optimistic, and even though I wake up in disbelief or like throughout the day, I'm like, okay, this is really life. Like, this is real life right now. God's not going to keep you somewhere that you're not supposed to be. You are going to be where you're meant to be, and that everything does happen for a reason. So whether it's you make the choice to leave or you're forced to leave, you're gonna get out of it one way or the other, regardless of how that looks. I'm just trusting and open to the possibilities that are out there. Anyone's going through this, I just hope that this is your reminder that you are worthy and you are valued, and those two things are not tied into a job. It's okay to fear the unknown, just don't allow it to consume you, and just be expectant that big things are going to happen in your life. Because that's what I'm just reminding myself of right now too. I know this is going to be a journey, but if you want to follow along with it, I would love to have you here in my what comes next. But yeah, like I said, your worth and your value is not tied into a job, so never forget that.
The job market in 2026 is complete shit. I know of so many people out here that are trying to find work, including myself, and no one will hire us. AI is slowly but surely going to take over, and within the next couple of years, they're most likely going to 100% replace all of us. And it's like a lot of us kind of hit this point of not really seeing the point, because we know if we like work a job, we're just going to be trapped in this endless cycle of pain and misery and poverty. A lot of us have kind of just gotten to a point where we're saying screw it, doing our own thing, trying to figure out other ways to make money, other ways to make income, hanging by a thread, and just trusting that the universe is somehow going to guide us through all of this. Because after you spend a majority of your time on Indeed, putting in job applications, going through all these interview processes, and you never hear back from anybody, it just kind of makes you lose hope. And after you go through all these interviews and they offer you like $14 an hour starting out, knowing it doesn't match the astronomically high cost of living, it genuinely makes you question, what is the point?
I graduated from my university in May of 2023. It is now.
She still hasn't found a job in 2024. What's crazy to me is the complete lack of accountability required from higher ed. You can pay university a lot of money to get training that will ultimately lead to a job. But if it doesn't, no repercussion. Like, if you've been trying hard to find a job and they can't place you, at what point should you get a percentage of your tuition back? That's why I think higher ed will be disrupted by these companies like Bloom Tech and App Academy that don't get paid until you find a job.
I think in today's tough job market and tough economy, the best thing that someone could do is just to keep trying and stay hopeful. Because let's be honest, a lot of things in life are out of our control. I mean, it's not our fault that we can't find a job right now. It's the fact that the macroeconomic situation is just so bad right now. In fact, I saw on the news that the layoff levels have been the highest since 2009. And for those of you guys who are older who remember what happened in 2009, that was during the height of the Great Recession, the financial crisis. So you can say we're experiencing a pretty bad downturn in the job market and economy right now. And that's not being reflected in the official numbers, but people's experiences say otherwise. I mean, the economy nowadays is just so unstable and it is so fickle. Because could anyone have imagined that the job market would be this tough today just 5 years ago? I know I certainly wouldn't have imagined that. But here we are, and we have to live with the fact that this is the reality.